Well, we've got some great news for Assassin's Creed Shadows, and it seems like ESRB ratings have finally given an official rating for Assassin's Creed Shadows, and they've also given us some brand new information. Usually what happens is that before they give a full-on rating for the game, they tend to go ahead, play the game, and check each and everything inside of the game, from cutscenes to the features in the game and all that stuff. And now ESRB seems to have done that, and they've given us an official rating for the game as to how it's going to be sold out there in the market. Now, if you go down here on the ESRB rating score, you can actually see that they have rated Assassin's Creed Shadows as M for mature, 17 plus for PS5, Xbox, and PC. And big thanks to Rhino, has actually put together all of these features that ESRB has specifically mentioned as to what made them decide to give the game a 17 plus, a mature rating. Now, the first thing that ESRB has apparently shared is that the game is going to be a story that is related to Shinobi Assassin and Samurai Yasuke as they navigate turbulent clan wars during the Sengoku Dynasty era. Now, this is of course something that we already knew, but it seems like the storyline of the game is going to take place between the clan wars. So Yasuke and Naoe, both of these characters are going to be caught up between these clan wars, and that's probably how the storyline is going to take place. Now, moving up, they also said that players are going to be exploring open world environments while performing missions. Example of all the activities that you'll come across in the mission, such as searching for items, infiltrating enemy compounds, and using stealth to kill human targets. Now, this is basic Assassin's Creed, still nothing out of the usual, but they've actually given us some more detailed information, which kind of just makes me a bit more excited for this game, because they say that players use swords, throwing and concealed weapons, and occasional guns as well, which Yasuke will be using in the game to kill various enemies, example ninjas. So apparently these are all the information about the enemy types you're going to be seeing in the game. Number one, we're going to fight off against enemy ninjas. Not only is Naoe a ninja herself, we're also going to be fighting off ninjas, guards, soldier samurais, which we've already seen in the gameplay, but we haven't really seen Naoe performing like a stealth attack on a ninja. I would love to see how it's going to work out, because a ninja versus ninja, I don't know what type of an enemy type they are going to be. Could be they will be as stealthy as we are, and you know, it's going to be a completely different combat style. And all of these things were supposed to be done using the melee combat style. Now, ESRB also shared some details about the battles, which they say that the game actually has this feature where the characters in the game are going to be screaming out of pain, and frequent blood splatter effects are going to be all over the game. Now, this means that there is going to be some extreme gores, and not just gore. Now, if you've seen this in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, it's a Viking game, of course. We had all of these body dismemberment stuff, because ESRB also says that there are going to be some finishing moves that allows players to decapitate or dismember enemies with brief slow motion effects. Now, this was like the same thing that was available in Assassin's Creed Valhalla as well, but what's different this time is that the enemies are going to be screaming in agony and pain, and there is going to be a lot of blood splattering frequent effects, which is not something that we've seen in Assassin's Creed Shadows. So that's like a slight improvement in terms of gore, in terms of bringing in much more realism into the world. So the main thing that kind of just changed here is that the enemies are going to be screaming in pain, and then there's going to be a lot more blood. Now, of course, we have seen a lot of that blood stuff in the gameplay that Ubisoft has already showed. The first thing that I got to notice is that everything in the world is destructible, and each and every fruit and the environment is an individual 3D object that can literally move on its own. So this also means that you can cut off body parts, and you know, blood is going to splatter out of all different types of body parts in different directions. And also the enemies in the AI system seems to have been much more revamped in this game. But they also say that the cutscenes in this game, they're going to be depicting further violence. And one of the cutscenes that they've shared here, which we will see a lot, is going to be captives who are going to get beheaded and characters shot at close range. Now, one of the scenes I think we actually got to see in the gameplay already is that one of the characters just gets beheaded, and it's basically one of the captives who is getting executed inside the game. And this was like a traditional thing in the feudal Japan times, where, you know, the kings or the rulers would just, you know, behead some of these enemies out there. So that's something that's going to be available in this game. Maybe we, as Yasuke being a samurai, we will get a chance to behead some of the captives as well. We never know. That could be a cool stuff if you could just go ahead and try the stuff inside the game. Now, it also says that there is going to be insults which will appear in the game, which means that the NPCs are going to insult. So there are going to be some very violent language in the game. Now, this is like the first time that I've heard, you know, ESRB mentioning like an insult insult appearing in the game. Now, the same thing I've heard in Red Dead Redemption, because when they rated Red Dead Redemption as 18 plus, the one big feature that they kind of just mentioned is the insult. So seems like that is something that's going to be returning in Assassin's Creed Shadows as well, where the NPCs and the characters in the world, they're going to talk shit, and maybe we as characters playing, we have an option where we can interact with random characters, throwing out some insults or greeting characters. This is something that I would just love to see, and it seems like that is also going to be part of the game as well. But apart from this, man, it seems like Assassin's Creed Shadows dev team have been stating that they've been doing in long time development cycle for this game, and it seems like that's just going to make the game look so much better and whatnot. So it kind of just makes sense, since 4 years is a long time, and average development for Assassin's Creed has always been like 2 years at max. I think Assassin's Creed Valhalla took like 2.5 years. There was a lot of post-launch content that came out for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and I really hope to see a lot more with Assassin's Creed Shadows, and this time hopefully it's some good quality content rather than just adding in a bunch of content that, you know, players are not really going to be interested in, and all of these different seasonal stuff. I really hope they kind of add in more meaningful content which could actually give players more enjoyment in order to, you know, play the game. But yeah, one thing I really hated about Assassin's Creed Valhalla is that you kind of just go to this other realm, and I'm not a very huge fan when it comes to, you know, mythological games. I want it to be as realistic as possible, because we're playing as Odin and Loki and whatnot, all that bullshit stuff. So it was something that I was not really interested in. I kind of just lost my interest in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and I really hope that's not the case here with Assassin's Creed Shadows, since this game doesn't take place in no sort of mythology or no gods or whatever stuff. It kind of makes sense that, you know, we're most probably not going to go for that, but you never know Ubisoft, man. They could just add in some of the Dragon King, Dragon Queen, or Dragon God, Buddha. This was a very small footage that Ubisoft shared with us just to let us know that, hey, here is the parkour system. It's basically how the game works. Now, one thing that I really find a little bit, tiny bit annoying with the parkour system that they've just implemented here is that this scene right over here, if you take a look at it very closely, you'll actually find out that as Naue performs a front flip, and then she lands on the roof, there is absolutely no impact or whatsoever, since the roof is like inclined and the roof is completely different type of terrain compared to the normal floor. So there is supposed to be some sort of an impact, or maybe they could have added in some sort of an animation where she would basically just slip off. And one of the videos that I came across from this guy named Assassin's Creed News on Twitter, where he just posted this comparison video where you can see Eivor running in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and then you have Naue on the left side. And although the graphics kind of looks very similar to each other, I think that, you know, there's not really a lot of graphical improvements in Assassin's Creed Shadows, but you can actually see that there is a major difference when it comes to the vegetations and how the environment is going to be much more live in Assassin's Creed Shadows. And another footage was also shared by Assassin's Creed News, where apparently it seems like Ubisoft pretty much just copy pasted the same thing from Assassin's Creed Mirage. Now, the animations for the parkour is basically kind of similar, or maybe it's just same, they just copy pasted the same stuff. So if you take a look at Naue here, just take a look at the animation that Basim is performing on the right side and the animation on the left with Naue performing. It's pretty much the same animation that has been once again reused. Now, of course, there's nothing wrong with it. It still looks pretty cool, but I think they should have done a little bit changes, since they're like completely changing the engine and everything, and they're trying to make a new game. So of course it would have been better if they kind of just focused on giving us a completely different animation. Hold on, let me just put my camera to the left side so that you guys can take a look at what the full version of Basim's animation looks like. And as you can see, it actually looks pretty much the same. Apart from this, we also have some very interesting information that I just got to know recently, which seems like Ubisoft was developing a game called Prince of Persia Assassins, and this game was cancelled, and we actually have like an early footage of the build for this game, and it was named as Prince of Persia Assassin. And as you can see, Rhino says that footage of an early build that was meant for Prince of Persia game, which eventually evolved to become the first Assassin's Creed title. And it seems like Assassin's Creed was not supposed to exist, and they basically just made a Prince of Persia game all the way back in the time, and then they decided, well, you know what, we could just make a whole new game of its own, a completely new IP, and name it as Assassin's Creed rather than just continuing it as Prince of Persia franchise. And well, guess what? It really worked out for Ubisoft. And Assassin's Creed being a new IP of its own is actually pretty good, honestly. I think this was one of the best choices that Ubisoft has made so far. So let me know down below in the comments, what are your opinions, if you have any more suggestions on what you guys think that Ubisoft should kind of fix in terms of parkour system when the game finally comes out, because we still have time. The game still hasn't gone gold, which means that you can always give suggestions in the comments down below. So Ubisoft will definitely read them, and hopefully they will learn from what fans really have to say and implement them in the final game. So your support as fans of Assassin's Creed franchise, it's really helpful. So please, just don't hesitate to go ahead and leave your thoughts in the comments down below. And with that being said, if you guys are looking for a YouTube channel that covers all the latest and the greatest information, news, updates, gaming content, basically all the coverage that you guys need about upcoming open world games, so make sure to go ahead, subscribe. It's absolutely free. Of course, you're not going to pay any single penny. That's the best part. You're going to stay updated every single day. So go ahead and do it, and I will see you guys on tomorrow's video. Until then, take it easy, fams, and goodbye.